Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the B2B Pipeline Pioneer Show. This is Ariana Shannon, the Director of Marketing here at SalesIntel and your favorite guest host. I will be here today because not only is building pipeline a team sport, but so is running a business. It takes literally a whole village of people coming together, and I'm just so excited to be a part of the show and to interview the daring Deidre Hudson today, go-to-market and revenue marketing advisor. Deidre, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ariana. It's a pleasure to be talking with you again. I think we haven't really spoken in maybe a year or so when we did our I am ready for 2024, or that was late 2023 when we spoke.
I think it was later in the year because there was so much happening at the end of the year. We're all building pipelines, we're all having holidays, dealing with family and traveling, but I'm so glad to be able to connect with you again and just to chat more and share more about everything that we've talked about, but then also getting to share some of your insights with people in the community, because that's what this show's about. It's learning from each other, it's crowdsourcing, and just really working together to make our business work and our community better. So with that right now, what are the biggest ways that you are contributing to pipeline or influencing pipeline?
Yes, I love that question. And I thought about this long and hard. And I think that the way that I really contribute to building and maintaining pipeline is by building a foundation that you can scale and grow upon. I was talking with someone the other day, and the way that they characterized it was like, I bring order to the chaos. And I was like, you know what? I think that's right. I think I agree with that. So really building out that foundation, going from I love that. I've got to get one of those.
I'll send you the link.
I love it. So exactly, going from, a bunch of random acts of marketing, going from a bunch of, things that are just kind of not really put together in a framework, going from, just very siloed kind of doing things and really putting together a framework. It's got a roadmap. We can see where we are, what are the milestones, what are the markers, looking ahead 3 or 4 steps and making sure that where we want to be in the future, we're building for that in the current space. So and then I think also just when looking at the pipeline itself, being very diagnostic and optimizing conversion points. So looking at not just, okay, how many leads did we get, right? Looking at all the different touch points that take place throughout that journey and looking how we can optimize each of those touch points. So that's how I think that I contribute to building and maintaining pipeline.
I love that, Deidre. Building a solid foundation. It's so easy to just do ready, what is it? Ready, fire, aim a lot of the time, where you're just excited or you're trying to get things out, but building that foundation. And then once you've built that foundation, going back into it and checking your assumptions and making sure that they were right or adjusting where you need to. And that's really awesome because it's a very important part of the pipeline and just keeping it healthy.
Yeah.
On that note, 2023 was challenging for quite a few businesses out there. What was your biggest challenge and your biggest learning from last year?
I think last year for me was really about setting expectations and really being able to focus on quality over quantity, right? I think that, our ultimate goal is supposed to be about building pipeline and building revenue. But, sometimes when different teams are trained to look for particular KPIs or what they think are KPIs, because they've been trained that these things are KPIs, it leads to the wrong thing. And it leads to having conversations about the wrong thing. So for instance, it can lead to, I think everyone that I'm familiar with knows that I don't like MQLs, right? So when you're having conversations about MQLs that were generated and have the MQLs converted into leads and have those, those email opens converted into MQLs, then you start having conversations about, well, why not? And how come they haven't converted into MQLs? As opposed to, is this idea of an MQL the right thing to measure in the first place, right? Does an email open rate where you get a point for doing that, and you accumulate points, does that mean you are an MQL? Does that mean you are a person that's in market and ready to buy our services or products? So I think it's about focusing on quality, not quantity, quality, not quantity, focusing on the right benchmarks, differentiating markers from true KPIs, and being able to train leadership and your peers about, what are the things that you should be looking at and focused on.
I love that's where you started, Deidre, because setting the correct expectation is so key, especially for the role that you're in, and where you're giving that advice and how it comes together. Because if you're not aligned on where the starting block is, it can create a lot of this challenge that you were mentioning of, okay, this is our MQL, but is it the right definition? Is
Right.
is it the right, and we've heard this before and a lot of people have talked about it. Oh, it's the right contact, but the wrong company, or it's the right company, but the wrong contact. How do we deal with that? And having a plan, putting that in place. So definitely love that perspective.
Yeah.
So
And I
then,
think even, I'm sorry, just to add to that, I think especially in enterprise, right? When you're targeting enterprises, the MQL is not a person. If you're going to stick with, using MQLs, it's not a person. It's an account, right? Is the account demonstrating the right behavior, or is the account demonstrating behavior that, makes you think that they're interested? It needs to cease to be about the individual, especially, in that enterprise setting. So good point.
no, and that's a good call out there too, because you got me. Because I love when people come in and they're like, wait, no, remember, Ariana, it's about the account. That's how this is really working now. ABM is truly entrenched in a lot of things that are going on in SaaS. So very, very good call out there. So then let's look forward. It's 2024. What experiments are you running, or what are you seeing that's working out there right now?
I think that this kind of return to basics is working. Some of the companies that I'm talking with, and I
Mhm.
show them this framework that I have. I have this framework of 5 steps to scale revenue marketing, and it really kind of takes you on this journey through strategies and tactics and metrics on building and scaling your revenue marketing function, and having marketing go from being a lead generator to a revenue generator. And when I show that to people and kind of talk them through it, they really seem to like it, and, really kind of gravitate and attach to it. So I think that a return to basics is definitely something that is, we need to focus on in 2024. And as everyone is talking about AI, I think that it's time for us to move away from the initial infatuation that we had with AI, of being able to tell AI to create a blog post, or write email copy, or give me a test for calls to action. And we really need to put AI to the test in helping us with the more meaningful work of personalization and segmentation. I was on a show not too long ago, and we talked about there's a McKinsey study that shows that AI is going to impact, I think it went from like 1 point something to 2 point something trillion dollars, right? If you are using it in sales and marketing. And one of those key components of using AI in sales and marketing to have that kind of financial impact is personalization. So I think we need to, again, back to the basics, and then let's really look at personalization. Personalization goes beyond saying, "Dear Bob," right? Or in your email. And personalization goes beyond saying, "Hey, I noticed you visit our pricing page. Do you want some price information?" Personalization means, who are you? How do I connect with you on a personal level? How do I connect with you about what you are needing and what you're going to need, and just demonstrate that there's some affinity there, that I understand who you are, and that I want to get to know who you are.
I'm going to dig into that one a little bit more, Deidre, because I hear what you're saying about personalization, and this is where AI is going. And there's a lot of people that are in that. But then how how far can you push that before the personalization of AI begins to feel too intrusive? Where do you think that line is going to land for us? Because we saw that with email and with the tokens, but then where's that line for AI for you?
I love that question. This is something we talked about too, because there's a point where it can become creepy, right? So you have, this is where AI needs that human balance. If you're sending out cold emails, don't send a cold email that you wrote with an AI tool that scraped your LinkedIn, and it said, "Hey, how'd your son perform in that soccer game yesterday? By the way, my platform is great for dads who want to see their kids play soccer. No, that's creepy. It's inauthentic. It's not really including that human element. So you have to use AI for personalization as a what's the word? An enabler, right? You don't just use it and that's the only thing that you rely on because it can seem creepy and inauthentic. And I think that what needs to happen is that the AI needs to help you to be more authentic. And it needs to help you to really get to know who your customers are. So if you're looking at your data and you're like, okay, I've got 3 segments here because they all purchase the same, that's based on product purchase. Maybe there's something deeper that the AI can help you. So maybe there's something where some people took a little bit longer because they have to consult with more people within their company, or they have bigger buying committees, or sometimes maybe they have, they wanted a different kind of contract. So use it in that way to get personalized, to understand, those motivations and those drivers. Don't put all of the onus on AI to create the personalization, and then you come across as inauthentic and creepy, right? Use it to help you find and dig and find data and to create meaningful connections. Does that resonate with what you were asking?
Yeah, it does. And I'd love to hear what some of our viewers think on this one as well when we get the episode up, if that resonated for them, because especially in the space we're in, AI is becoming more prevalent. People are testing it, and great. Personal opinion here. Great. AI can be an excellent tool if it's used properly. And part of that is not being the overly creepy, but if you're just putting in a prompt into AI and taking the first thing you get out, it's becoming very obvious to those of us who get those emails and that see your social post. Anything that says like in today's competitive landscape on LinkedIn, that's almost a surefire way of knowing that this was written with AI. And there's nothing wrong with writing with AI, but it's still taking that human component of making sure of what you've got in your messaging coming across. So awesome. Thanks for letting me dive into a little bit deeper there with you. Now we're going to switch gears. We're going to
Okay.
get to everyone's favorite exercise, the 100 pennies exercise. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right, let me get this spun up for us.
Okay.
Here we go, Deidre. So you have 100 pennies. You've got all these different channels and different places where you can be placing your bets. But I got to ask you, of course, Deidre, where are you spending your pennies?
Okay. Do I get to ask a question about this first?
Absolutely.
Does it matter what stage of company?
That has been impacting a lot of our answers. I've seen enterprise organizations throw everything into sales. I've seen bootstrap startups talk about product. I've seen mid-market companies talk all about community. So that's a great question. Where would you like to kind of give some context around where you're placing your bets?
I would say, a company that's maybe 15 or 20 million, trying to get to, 25 or 30 million. Maybe they've been traditionally led in one channel. So, okay. At that point, we are beyond founder-led growth. So I'm not giving any money to the founder-led growth in that scenario because we should be beyond that. I am going to give, let's say, you said I have 100 pennies?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's say I give 25 to marketing. I'm gonna give 25 to brand.
Well, we can go in 10 increments, 10-cent
Oh, and
increments.
10
So
increments.
you're doing 20 in marketing and 20 in
Yeah,
brand.
20 in marketing. I'll do 20 in brand. I think that I'm going to give 20 to partnership.
Right?
I am going to give 20 to events.
What about those last two, Deidre?
2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, I will give 10 to community and 10 to customer. Sorry, sales. I know
No,
that's not going to go over well.
I mean, no surprise. You have a marketing and revenue leader talking about investing in marketing. It's almost comical sometimes when you see the opposite happen. But okay, so we have like a pretty even spreading here. We've got 20 in marketing, 20 in partnerships, 20 in brand, 20 in event, 10 in community, and then 10 in customer. Walk me through some of your decision making there.
Yeah, because I think that all of these things really pave the way for sales. So by the time it gets to sales, if we've done all these other things right, it should be pretty easy pickings, right? Because they know about the brand, they connect with the brand. Marketing is in different places where though that target audience is. We're leveraging kind of, community word of mouth referral, doing that kind of surround sound marketing. We're leveraging events and in-person and really making those in-person connections. We're leveraging customers as providing that additional validation and referral and support. So by the time it gets to sales, it should be pretty easy. So that's why I put all of those things into those that more surround sound activities. I really think that, product-led growth is, unless we're talking about, yeah, I'll just, let me not go there. But yeah, I think those are the reasons why I put it into those different buckets.
Awesome. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to see how all of this stacks up against the community. So
Oh,
let's
okay.
go into the next slide here. This is our industry benchmark. This is what we have seen a lot of people talking about and where they were spending their pennies towards the end of last year. Obviously, a lot of sales growth, a lot of marketing led, but this is where you landed, Deidre. So a little bit more of an even spacing here. But now that you're seeing your the community in the blue and yourself in the orange, is there anything surprising here? Anything that's shocking?
I am definitely appearing to be more bullish on partnerships. And I stand by that because I think that where we are now, people are relying more on their networks and they're relying more on referrals and word of mouth and relying more on, can somebody besides you vouch for you as being a good choice for me, right? People are looking to their networks, they're looking to peers. So I'm standing by my partnership. I'm standing by brand also. I think that in B2B in particular, the fact that we're still having kind of the brand versus demand spending conversations, I think is just ridiculous because we need to create brands that have an emotional attachment for people and stop talking about features and functionality. So I'm standing by that. I'm also standing by events. Again, I think it's those in-person things, and events don't need to be the events that they were, 5-10 years ago. The $20,000, 10, things at Jacob Javits Center, the huge big trade shows, that can be a component, but that's not the only way. We go to these things, we come back, we scan every badge possible, we come back with a list of names. More than half of that list is worthless because we just scanned them, kind of held them at hostage. I'm talking about things we have an opportunity to create experiences for people, where we have an opportunity to get to know people and to start to form those relationships. I'm standing by that. Yeah, I'm good. You know what? I'm used to being contrarian, so I'm good.
No, well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and letting us know a little bit more about how you're driving pipeline and what you're seeing working. So appreciate the time, Deidre, and can't wait to see how your bets pan out this year.
Awesome. Me too.